a career? A career is a long-term professional journey you may determine based on your passions. It's the path you embark upon to fulfill your professional goals and ambitions. It's important for us as Careers Magazine to cover stories that symbolically inspire passion, personal fulfillment, and ambition, which is why our collaboration with MaXhosa Africa was a no-brainer for us. The idea of having the Ngxokolo siblings as our inaugural rebrand cover was one that fell into place rather organically. There were meetings between our team and the Ngxokolo family before the decision was taken. But initially, the discussion was around featuring the story of the MaXhosa Africa brand as an article inside the magazine, but not on the cover. However, the conversation organically evolved into covering the siblings and unraveling the needle that threads this family together beyond their beautiful garments. For years, the MaXhosa Africa brand has been centered around Laduma Ngxokolo, which is why we were interested in uncovering the other layers that make up this family business in order to expand on the narrative. The family generously extended an invitation to us as Careers Magazine for an exclusive tour of the MaXhosa Africa production factory in hope that we would come out understanding not only the business, but even the family dynamics. This video takes you through my experience with the Ngxokolo family and hopefully answers some of the burning questions you might have had regarding the brand in its entirety. This is the MaXhosa Dynasty. It was quite interesting for me how each family member clearly understood the roles they play within the family business, more so how these roles were initially molded and defined not only by their childhood home dynamics, but by their personalities too.
I was into numbers way back. I worked for those furniture store, which is I was doing finance there. So that's where everything kind of like got in together though. When we were 20, that's where we would see that no, this would be the numbers guy and this would be communication, and Tina and Laduma were mostly on fashion.
We were taught up to believe that if you are doing fashion, it's just a hobby. However, for me, I knew that there is a business side to fashion because my mother was also an entrepreneur. She was also a knitter in the 80s. Therefore, I knew that if she doesn't have an invoice, she won't be selling. I knew that she needed legal advice and everything that she needed. So for me, it actually means that I am able to take what other people see as fun and put it into perspective that not everything that in life you do is a hobby or fun. You can actually generate an income for it and it would be your future.
It is worth acknowledging that the whole structure of having a family-run business is not something new or something that is meant to fail or that is always a failing model. In countries like Italy, about 60% of Italian businesses are family run. And according to research, a majority of those businesses stood the test of time longer than corporate businesses.
It's an intent that we're working together. We've worked together since I was born because we've always been a team. We've always been a team at washing the dishes. So it always starts right where it's you as a parent will think it doesn't matter, but it does matter because at that time you are molding each child's role into their future lives and what they'll be without you.
Immediately when we walk into the door, I know I'm at work. I am not at home. So Lisha is actually the youngest, but she's my manager, and that has never been an argument. Like she became a manager, and it was so organic for her to play that role because she's always played that role for some reason. And I've always been a creative one. Malatuma and I have always been the creative ones. And Mangaliso and Lisha have always been the ones looking at us and like, these guys are crazy. These guys are creative, but sometimes they eat too much. So they kind of like balance the two of us because we just want to go overboard sometimes with the creativity, and then it's just like, it's not going to sell. Or, that's gonna, my brother's like, that's going to cost like a fortune. Maybe not now, maybe next year. So it works.
The story of the Ngxokolo family is one that shows us how influential the symbolic teachings are from our parents. Not only that, but the siblings had an interesting way of pairing their passions and talent with education, which is often neglected or overlooked in industries such as fashion.
Our mom left us with 350 rand under a pillow to set us for life. And that was it. And she was gone. So I remember she passed away in December, and in January we had to go back to school. And Ulisha was gonna be her first day in high school. So I had to ask someone who was in that school if they can loan us the uniform, and we'll pay them over a few months. But I knew, like, it was an open, I knew, raining or not, food or no food, money or no money, we are going back to school.
We come from a household that you doing any creative field, being in any creative field was your choice. She never said, no, you can't do that. You have to be a lawyer. You have to be a doctor because you won't make money. She never discouraged us in anything. But she also emphasized that even if you are a creative, you'll need the educational background to further whatever you want to do to enhance, because talent without education is also not viable in this day and age, because there are so many people that are talented. You won't be the only one.
I initially saw the link between my success and how education could contribute highly based on what I wanted to achieve on my success. Talent can fail if one does not work hard enough. So I had to make sure that I work hard and match the hard work with the education. For me, that formidable combination is without fail guaranteed success, because if there is a case where there is no employment or no job opportunities, one is able to work hard enough to actually create job opportunities, and that is the space that I wanted to initially go to. And in fact, I have never even worked for a company in my whole life or considered working for one. I instantly, after I graduated with my BA at the Nelson Mandela University, I went straight forward into in fact, I continued with entrepreneurship, but I came back stronger now because I had a degree qualification.
Being one of Africa's leading and most recognizable brands, not only in fashion, makes MaXhosa Africa a true African success story. They've showcased at global fashion landmarks such as New York Fashion Week and have had popular global stars wear their brand, such as, most recently, the former NBA star Dwayne Wade. There's definitely no slowing down the MaXhosa Africa brand.
To be honest, I didn't imagine it would be this big though. Even owning a factory and doing it from scratch, I never imagined that would be this way though. Even like 5 or 4 years back, I never imagined it would be like this though. Even seeing the potential of the business, I could see it's gonna grow. It's growing fast, but I've never anticipated it's gonna grow like this though.
Most of the time, our conversation is how do we get a step further, rather than saying, oh, look where we've come from. It's taken so long. It's taken hard work to be here. So I think basically that's one of our failures. But we do sometimes sit and reflect and laugh and think, oh my goodness, did we really do that to get here today? Like, I'll make an example. Latuma has just posted late last week about the new opening of the Waterfront store. He also then did a whole post on how he was in Cape Town first, and he was looking for manufacturers and how he used to sleep in backpackers, in people's couches, and he also reflected on how he used to take a bus from obviously the Eastern Cape, which is like 14-15 hours to get to where he is today. So people might see him taking a flight now, being in business class. However, he reflected on how all this journey started, how he got his first order. And then the Monday we're having that conversation. It's like, oh gosh, it does kind of seem like a long time ago. But do you remember when you used to had
a special offer with Intercape. If you take 10 buses, the 11th one is free. That's how much he used to take the buses. And we were reflecting that, oh my gosh, we've actually been to a backpacker in Cape Town. The 4 of us, Sunsika, our nephews, like all six of us sleeping in one room because we were all there to support the MaXhosa brand. And at that time, none of us were officially working for MaXhosa. It was just Tuladuma. So we hardly reflect into those times, but they do also shape us, our thinking, and how we want to move ahead.
In any business, financial growth is not only determined by sales, but by owning the value chain. That is exactly what the Ngqokolo family intends to do with the MaXhosa Africa company. They've already started the process by opening a clothing manufacturing factory.
Prioritizing people over profit is one very important value, because people are able to protect you when there's no profit. People must understand, and we constantly do teach our staff members on where we are heading to ultimately.
I think what really actually does keep me sane is my relationship with the women that actually work on these products. Every product that leaves our factory, so personal to them because they touched it. Even with Uladuma, MaXhosa used to be MaXhosa by Laduma, and he got to a point he realized it's MaXhosa Africa. It's not just about me, it's also about people, the continent, and for me, the people that are on the ground level of this industry, they might seem to be there, but they play such a huge role in growing brands, and no one really acknowledges that. But for me, in my own very little ways, I do things that will make them just feel they are also part of this industry and these brands that they help grow, because they do help them grow.
We always target to please at all costs is our customers. So for me, those are some of the principles that I have to instill and actually make sure that I compromise some of those things to make sure that customers are well served and they are well taken care of and they are happy. And not just happy, but get liberated and get a sense of what we're trying to bring, value that we're trying to bring to the world. Number one, we try to educate customers that we produce with ethical consciousness. We use natural materials or the best quality materials for our garments. We use the best finishes and use the best processes to make our garments. We use a raw material that is durable and sustainable. So that is the value that we ultimately sell, which is beyond the aesthetic that people see.
Human dynamics are what brings us together from a relationships perspective. I certainly relate in more ways than one to the MaXhosa Africa story, and hope you do too. From humble beginnings to the world, that is the narrative that seeks to inspire a child in Port Elizabeth, a city where the siblings are from, a city where opportunities are not necessarily handed to you on a silver platter. But the Ngqokolo family created their own platter and continue to feed hope and opportunity to those coming after them. Cut from the same cloth, this is the MaXhosa Dynasty.